Hi, Dad.
Hey, how you doing there?
Oh, good.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Why are you lazy?
So you made a lot of money on the
Exactly.
$500, I heard.
Yeah, yeah.
Unbelievable.
And I left. I left the house. I go, oh, it's done. I can't win. I missed the last play when he threw the thing, and what? What do you mean?
I didn't even watch. I left at the halftime.
Yeah,
It
Right.
was so boring.
it really was.
It was just boring.
No, Mahomes was a jet.
No, it was boring. It was my match boring, AB?
Yeah, yeah. It was a crazy, ridiculous game.
Yeah, there's just nothing there. No,
Right.
there's nothing. They're playing.
Defense was good.
I mean, I was very happy with the outcome. What can I tell you?
That's the whole thing.
You were happy.
Well, that's was it the birthday?
Some of it just said, "This is this." Oh, one of them he got hit.
Yeah, the second interception.
He's trying to throw the guy's speed and stuff.
No, and then that was the misses on that first, whatever it was, 3rd and 15, he misses on. Whatever it was.
The interception was good, the first one.
Okay.
If then they intercepted back and they didn't do anything.
Are we ready?
There's no sports on for 2 weeks. No hockey, yeah. No hockey, basketball's in the All-Star break this weekend.
Oh boy, the sports guys going cold turkey now. They go crazy.
Exactly.
They need
No, my guy who works for me told me that Ecuadorian soccer is phenomenal.
They need
Thursday, you have Thursday, Sunday, Monday, every night of the week.
It's like July.
they gotta go into rehab.
No, well,
Pitchers and catches. Pitchers and catches.
pitching catches report this.
That's
I
right.
told you, frankly, I'll start doing that for me. All right, anyway.
Okay, so we're talking about transitions, and I said in order to understand the transitions well, and why Tehillim, that's what we said we're gonna focus on, why Tehillim has the 75th and the 76th Mizmor saying what they say, and what the objective is. That's more important. We want to culminate with explaining the objective. In order to do that, we have to mention quickly a couple of things. One of them being, we remember we're in the third book, we're in the equivalent of Vayikra. We're in the Asaf Mizmorim. The Asaf Mizmorim are referring, the word Asaf is referring to the Kohanim. Everything I'm saying, nobody knows, nobody's ever known or ever said before. So there's not one thing I just said that has any precedent at all. Huh?
You said it last year.
Yeah. Well, this was written 10 years ago. More than that. No, not yet. And so the Asaf Mizmorim are referring to the Kohanim. The 73rd Mizmor is going to be talking about how he was jealous of them. And then until he came to Mikdashei Elyon, Mikdashei El, which we interpret as Shiloh and Beit El, and saw them in destruction. Yirmiyah is witnessing that. And then he realizes that that's going to be the end of these priests, and which is in fact, he says in 73, for example, 73:22, right? Which reminds you of the 92nd Mizmor, Ish bar lo yada, ufsi lo yabin zot, right? It reminds you, he was a bar, lo yada, what? V'ani tamid imach, hasib yad mini, b'atzatcha tehni, v'har kabot tikaheni, b'ile b'shorim v'kalo hafasi b'aretz, kashi yobali, etc., halki olim, leolam, halki olam means halki, leolam, that's what a priest is. Ani halkecha v'nalatcha, so halki Elohim, right? That's Hilkiyahu, that's Yirmiyahu ben Hilkiyahu. You have to really ask yourself the question. I mean, I asked myself the question many times, if he calls his father Hilkiyahu, because he lived his life as the right. He comes from a priestly line. That's Hilki Hashem. That's what they're servants of God, and that's their portion. And And that's what it means. V'hakir Elohim le'olam. Ki hineh Hakecha Yobedu Esmata Kol Zonim Emirka. You of course see the word Kohanim over there, right? Ki hineh the Hakecha. You see the word in verse 20. 7 is kihuna. You see the chaf
Yeah.
and the he and the nun and the resh, right? It's kohanecha, right? The word is right. Yobedu, your priest will be wiped out. And backwards is mata kol zonim meka. Take a look at the word zonim meka, and you have the chaf and the he and the nun from zoneh, right?
No happens up.
And the kaf of kol, so you have kohaneh cha again, backwards and forward. That's the only time. I love to see when a guy shakes his end like Soli did. That's the only time that occurs in all of Tanakh ever in history. And you thought out of 20, it's not a thing to hear. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Out of 20,000 verses is the only time this happens. Out of 20,000.
What,
Okay.
these letters?
Yeah, falling like that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
20,000. 1 out of 20,000 happens to hit in the one where it says Kohen. And you also don't know that the word Kohen occurs all over this Mizmor. I was only saying it because I thought you remembered. When I saw you shake your head, I realized you forgot the whole thing. Because the center of this Mizmor is, what is the center of this Mizmor? Who remembers it?
I don't remember. I'm looking.
They're up 73.
Nobody remembers,
I don't remember yet.
right?
Talking about 28 Pesukim, it's 15.
14.
Nobody remembers.
Actually, it's a key to the.
Oh, nothing against.
Nobody remembers.
No,
No.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Come
Trying
on,
to find it.
you get.
Okay.
Kimohine.
That's right. He remembered. I was waiting for it.
I just
I just said it was easy.
Where is it?
And then.
Tell them the verse number.
16. 15.
Right. That's the center words. The exact center of this words are Im amarti asapera kemo. If I would have said over kemo as he just had explained, right? Like this. If I would have explained like this, Hine dor banecha begati, I would have been a traitor to your people, right? Dor banecha, the generation of your children, right? I would have been a traitor. So the word kimo and hine is, if I would have said that I'm talking about the Kohanim, that's the kehuna, right? If I would have said I'm talking about the kehuna, he would have been a traitor. Of course, that would have been the equivalent of today going all the rabbis, right? He would have said he's talking about the rabbis, right? And if he would have been talking about the rabbis, they'd say, how dare you? Because over here in this Mizmor, remember, if you remember AB online, when this Mizmor, he's talking, it sounds like he's talking about the Nazis, right? He's talking about the worst human beings on the face of the earth, very bad people, really evil, real evil, you know, gava and checking line and squeezing the people for ever they're worth, and they think that because they talk in the name of God, they could say whatever they want, and they said God doesn't know what they're doing anyway. In verse 11, right? God doesn't know what they're doing. They are the worst kind of human beings. And that's where at the critical point,
So what's he deciding to say or not say? I'm trying to understand that.
he's saying everything about the Kohanim.
So why is that Dor Banecha Bagati?
I never said it's said in coded. Yeah, it didn't say it outright.
The pasuk, he said, if I was going to tell all the things about how rotten the Kohanim were.
No, that's what we say. Nobody ever said that in history. Bad people.
Okay, no, but who am I voting against?
Speak out in this way.
If I spoke out about these bad people,
Right.
I would be traitor to who?
Right.
The circle of.
Dor Banecha, to the circle of your children, I would have been considered a trade. They wouldn't believe me.
Your children's not really God's children, it's just.
Yeah.
Yeah, God's children,
No.
yeah, people.
But that is,
No,
That's
no,
believers.
I would have been a traitor to the people. Take it that way,
okay, so.
right?
It's a negative all around.
Right. They don't know what I'm talking about, right? He's talking about his contemporaries, right?
Right, okay.
Right? Kineti beholilim. I was
Yeah.
jealous of the holilim. We say holilim means instead of the people who are supposed to say Hallel, you talk. We say he coined a new phrase a few times in Tehillim. He calls them the holilim. Nobody else says that. Remember, there's a zillion, there's 100 things in here that nobody ever said.
What did they say, holy name?
Bale gava, right? Right. Not priest. We say a holel is a priest because he doesn't say Hallel, he's holel.
Well, you say it's a play on the word.
It's a prey on Hallel.
I mean, you could read it as, you know, those haughty guys, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You're saying that the,
But we're saying it about the guys who are supposed, but it's used on purpose
So people are supposed to do the work.
because the people are supposed to say Hallel and they're Holel. They're not Hallel. They don't praise, they praise themselves. Right? And we showed a few times where this
75.
expression is used in Tehillim in the very beginning, in the 5th Mizmor, where it says they're people with blood on their hands and so on and so forth. And we show how all the terms in Hasubot and Wotam, Bari Ulam, what Ulam means, and Yinuga'u is Negaim, that's what they deal with. And what Atov Shit Hamaslamo, where they're wrapped up, and and what Abru Maskiot Lebav, they surpass the imaginations of the heart. Meskiot are that's the stone at the end of Vayikra that you can't bow down, even mesquite. So it's talking about the priests who are serving even mesquite, right? And
Is the Kano Kaneti thing where a reference to Eliyahu when he was I was Mekaneh for God, that kind of thing, and these were the people that was going on at the same time in the Eliyahu story, because he uses the word, and so does Pinhas.
Right, but over here he's
And
not Mekaneh for God.
I know, but it's
he
a play
was
on it. But the Holilim was supposed to be the Mehalilim, and so he's
no.
making a play
The
on it.
person that he was Kineti of are against Baal.
They're evil,
Priests,
right?
Baal priests. They're not priests. They're Baal worshippers.
But in the Tehillim, but
No, not in the Tehillim. No. Eliyahu
Oh,
is killing. He kills the 400
Nebi'ei
Baal.
Baal. I got
Right.
it. So what's this?
This is people that live in town with him. He was jealous of people having a good life.
But the word usage of it is very, and especially you're going to get into 75 and 76 now. It's also part of the Eliyahu kind of stuff that we're talking about here.
Right.
So it's a lead in, and you're using that word. It's a strange word to use. Kaneti Baholilim? I don't know. Kano Kaneti. I mean, that's a very strong Eliyahu Pinhas kind of word when it comes to that stuff. That's all I'm saying.
Bekanot Keneti also applies to
right.
No, Bekanot Keneti applies to Pinhas.
That's what I said.
yeah.
I'm agreeing. Yeah.
Right.
I'm saying those are the two that you have when you use that word.
But over here, it's being used in such a bad way. That's why I'm finding it difficult. Kineti Beholim, I was jealous. I shouldn't. He was jealous of lowlife.
Of the evil people, right?
Evil
right.
people he's jealous
Right.
of, right?
Right. So the other
It's a
place
very
I was
negative statement.
Kaneti for God because of these evil people. So I'm spinning it a little bit. But he's also spinning it also. He's calling the Holilim evil people, where really it's a play on somebody that should be a righteous person.
Right.
That's what
But
I'm
he
saying.
was jealous of them.
Right.
The purpose is he was jealous of them.
Because they're successful and he's getting killed as a result.
Well, so he's jealous.
Right.
He doesn't justify that. He never should have been jealous of those kind of people, right? Right?
Right.
He sees them having good lives. In any event, they take the people halom. We say halom, of course, means the temple. That word, right? Takrab halom. Halom is a term being used for the holy precincts. and and full of water, they squeeze them. They squeeze them dry when they come to the temple to worship during the holidays. So, and they say, so I'm only reminding you, I mean, we learned all of this at length, but evidently you all forgot it. And then, they're very wealthy, verse, right? And then in 13, that has been a kayon kapai. I did all of this for nothing. I wasted, what did I do all of this for? They're having a good life. I'm suffering. They're animals. So what did I do it for? And he was plagued by this, right? All the time. It means probably many years. And it confronted me, right, every morning. And if I would have spoken it out, I would have been considered a traitor. And I thought about this for a long time. And then until I came to Mikdashei, until I came to we say the Mikdashei, the two of them are Bet El and Shiloh, which are destroyed. And I understood that end. And I knew that they were going to come to an end. So, and then this was more, it's all chiastic, and everything that's said on the first end, if you all remember, is said on the second end. You remember all of that, Mars? All the terms used in the beginning, used in reverse, right? What's an example of it? Kemat natayu raglai shufechu ashurai. I almost slipped, right? My slip. So if you look at the latter part, what does it say? Tashit. Take a look at verse 18. You put them in slippery places. Right? You make them, right? You cause them to fall, right? Disaster. So every one of the terms that he used in the beginning about what he was jealous about, every one of those terms ends up being a description of what happened to them in reality, right?
Got it.
Like verse 20, Kahalom Mehakis Adonai, like waking up from a dream in the city, Tzalmam Tivzeh, Tzalmam, their images, you make a bizir, well, that's Avru Meskiot Lebab, right? They're all of their images become wiped out, right? Destroyed, and so on and so forth. So 73 is going to open up on even though it's not the first Mizmor that deals with priests, the first one is the 50th, the first Asaf, which follows on right after the 49th, which is the eighth of the 8 Korah Mizmorim in Book 2, because he turns to different levels of leadership. So he mentions one of them there, talks about how what kind of people they were, and it's a trial taking place over there. So over here is where he really rips into, castigates the priesthood for what it is, a bunch of thugs checking line, couldn't care less about religion or God or anything else. As we've spoken about in the past, in the last few weeks, I mentioned that that's the same as the story of Yoash, and when he wants to do the rebuilding, right, to fix the renovation of the Beit HaMikdash, and they tell him no, and they're checking line, and he has to go around them, and he can't even trust them with the EPAW, which we mentioned last week, that he put in the building fund. How do you say EPAW in English?
Charity box?
The charity box that he puts at the temple entrance, where it says building fund. They're getting massive amounts of money. They have to count it, and they can't trust the high priest to count it.
Right.
Which is very reminiscent. And then we spoke about the fact that, and we did mention this, come to think of it, the rabbi never took a penny from anybody. The Shita, ever, ever, because of that you can't take money from people because it brings about corruption, and those stories are all about that, right? Okay, so 74 is the scholars all ask a question. 74 is the description of the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. 79 is the description of the destruction of Jerusalem. So they all ask, what is 74 doing here? Followed by 75, 76, 77, 78. Was it doing here? They don't have the answer. Of course, the answer for us is clear, that after talking about Ad Avor Mikdashel, I understood their end. He now he describes the end, right? That's the Mizmor 74 that describes the end.
Right.
But when he talks about it, he's never happy
No.
about anything. What does he say, Morris? You could read it.
What?
What does he say when he opens up in 74? What's his first words?
למה?
Yeah. How long are you gonna be so angry, right? He doesn't say, well, you're right for wiping them out and they got everything you deserved.
No,
Says, why did you reject Lanisa forever? Your anger is smoking, burning, in other words. B'tzon maritecha, and your tzon, your people, that your flock, right?
Mm.
You would expect him, after the description about I was jealous and now these people, he was an outlier with them, to get some kind of satisfaction when he sees the end, but he gets, of course, no satisfaction whatsoever, because who wants to see the country destroyed,
Yeah, of course.
even if the bad guys are going?
Mhm.
So what? Does it make sense to you?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because he doesn't want the,
You wanna work from the bottom up to try to get.
No,
back?
that's not why, because people are dying, there's collateral damage.
Damage. Exactly.
If you destroy.
well, he also wants them to have the opportunity to,
No, the bad guys, he couldn't care less that they
no, but he
did.
wants the nation as a whole to get back.
The nation, is the whole nation's
Right.
suffering.
If you destroy the whole enterprise, who knows what's gonna come back?
And innocents are suffering. All over the place, innocents.
But you might be better off trying from within to try to get it better than destroy the whole thing. You may not get a chance to start over.
No, even if you're getting a chance to start over, he's not happy about this happening because it's disaster, even though the bad guys are dying.
Right.
It's a disaster because, like you said, it's collateral damage. That's what it was. All wars where bad guys get killed have. Why does anybody ever care when bad things happen to bad people?
Those innocents get taken with it
But to what extent?
equally.
Much more than equal.
All die. That's the point.
Much more. Millions die.
Gaza,
Huh?
except in Gaza.
No.
Gaza, they should all go to hell.
That's a
Right.
little different.
Right. They're being taught to be evil from the children, from when they're little babies. They teach them to treat Jews like monkeys, like animals, kill them, burn them alive, animals. But over here, the people, you never want to see the people suffer the consequences of this leadership. These are the religious leaders telling them what to do,
The limited few.
right?
Right.
When you hear about guys stand that groups, they're going to learn. They're learning. They're learning, right? What learning? Issue learning. What are they learning? What are they doing? I have a cousin who told me, if not for you, I wouldn't be the case. He hasn't spoken to him or his children for 50 years now. If it wasn't for you, I just finished my 5th Shas, right?
Is that you?
What?
Is that
He
you?
says it was you. I never went like this to the phone.
Yeah.
Proof what I did to him, right? That's what I said. I was thinking those exact words. He's thanking me. That's what I'm being thankful. Yeah, Haram.
You want my Aunt Bonnie Mansour? You know Bonnie Mansour?
Sure.
I taught her Hebrew.
Yeah.
It's my fault.
Very sad. Okay. So he opens up with Lema Zanata, Yeshana B'chad B'sor Ticha. And remember the people that Kanita Kedim from old times, Hatzion Shechan Tabor. Now, I want to focus on the driving force behind the 74th Mizmor that's going to take us to the middle of Tehillim. 73, you got the sense. 74, let's look closely at it.
Okay.
Who has an English that could save me time?
I got it.
Okay. So, Lama Elohim Zanachta Lanesa Shana Pechad B'Sor Maritecha, we said it. Zechor Adatcha Kanita Kedim Gealta Shevet Halatecha Harzion Ze Shachanta Bo. Go ahead.
Remember the community you made yours long ago, your very own tribe that you redeemed, Hatzion, oops.
As you share.
Uh,
There's a share outside where you dwell.
Where you dwell.
האם פעמיך למשורת נצח, כל הרע אויב בקודש.
Stir yourself because of the perpetual tumult, all the outrages of the enemy in the sanctuary.
Right? He's telling Hashem, look what they're doing. Outrages things in the sanctuary in front of your eyes. Shagu sorecha b'kerev moadecha, samu ototam otot.
Your foes roar inside your meeting place. They take their signs for true signs.
Samu ototam otot.
Right.
They have placed their signs
As the real,
Like yours.
for otot. Right?
Mhm.
So that means what, Morris? What do you think he's referring to when he says they made their ototam otot?
The Hazara and the Mikdash.
So you say they put up things? What do you think it means?
I'm not sure what
I
it's
think it's
referencing.
Like
You
magic stuff.
said it, I don't remember.
Take a guess.
yeah, like the, I think magic stuff, but or taught, they
Yeah.
made signs that they were saying this is, they interpreted.
Yeah,
it, right?
they, we see this all the time today.
What AB said,
Spot.
what? So, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
they define the things that they say is supporting them, that God did, that whatever it might be.
Otot
Okay.
Moshe Otot.
היוודע כמביא למעלה בסבוך עץ קדומות.
It's like men wielding axes against a gnarled tree.
ועתה פיתוחיה יחד בקשיר וכלפות יהלומון.
With hatchet and pike, they hacked away at its carved work.
Right, he's describing the way the temple is being chipped to pieces with axes and what do you call it?
Hatchets and
Pickaxe.
picks.
Yeah, right. Where
Pickaxe.
they're turning it into sawdust. In other words, they're breaking it into pieces. They're taking the wood, chopping away at it till there's nothing left.
What's the symbolism of that?
It's-
I mean, that's.
You mean besides what it says?
No, what does the physicality mean? We're not dealing it.
That you're watching them rip down your temple and
Down or
Both.
renovate.
Spiritually and-
no, the enemy is running rampant in the streets of the temple now, and they have this enemy.
From,
Those are funny.
no, before that, in Pasuk 4, it was the Kohanim were making their otot.
No, the enemy is making their otot, Samu otot, Tamu otot. Well, forget Ukrainim now. Your enemies, Shagut Sorecha, your enemies roaring in the middle of the enemy is running through the streets, Babel, on horses, on animals, running through the streets,
Okay.
killing, murdering, raping, pillaging, and now they're at your temple. And you know what they're doing? They're saying they're putting up their otot, right? Right? And not only are they doing that, you see them taking axes and hatchets and literally chopping down the Aron right? The Aron, they're chopping everything to pieces, right? Right? ועתה פיתוחיה יחד בקשיר וכלפות יהלומון. Right? You could translate that.
With hatchet and pike, they hacked away at its carved work.
שלהו באש מקדשך, They threw into your mikdash into fire.
Right.
La'aretz hilalu mishkan shemecha.
Lo and dishonor the dwelling place of your presence.
Amru b'libam. They said, now these reminds you of the Shirat Hayam that you just read. Because what is saying Shirat Amar? Amar Oyeb. Erdof, Asik, Ahalik, Shalal, Timelem, Nafshi. Arik Harbi, Torashim Yadi, right? It's one a string of verbs, right? What did he say? Amar, I'm gonna go, Erdof, and Asik, Ahalik, Shalal, I'm gonna divide the booty, right? I'm gonna fulfill my need, I'm gonna get all satiated with everything that I want, right? Right, I'm going to take out my sword, and my hand will get everything I want. Right, I'm going to rip them to pieces. Over here, it's Amru b'libam. It's a short verb. They said in their heart, this is what their thought process is. Ninam yahad.
Let us destroy them altogether.
All together, we're going to kill them all in one shot. By the way, this reminds you of the way the Hamas guys, right? You know, really, these words because of October 2nd. Ninam yahad. We're gonna together obliterate them, right? They put destroy over there,
Yes.
Yeah.
Let us destroy them.
Crush them.
right? Starifu, Kol Moadei El, Bardis. They burnt down every one of the Moadei El in the land. What are the Moadei El, Aiki?
Shul sanctuaries. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
What are they? So isn't that's their meeting places of El? That wasn't the only place was a temple. That would be the equivalent in today's time of all the synagogues, right? They burn them they burn them down to the ground, right? Then ototenu lo ra'inu. Now he turns to the otot again and he says, ototenu, our otot, we don't see, right?
Right.
And od navi, we have no prophet. V'lo itanu yodea adma. And we don't know what's going to be. How do you have the translation?
No one amongst us knows for how long.
Right. Oh,
Because it's ad.
Yeah.
Until when?
yeah.
What's about?
I don't like it, but it doesn't matter. We don't have any prophet, so they make their otot. Now he turns to otot again, and he says we don't have otot, and we don't have a navi. Now, when you say in od navi, what do you think of Morris? When you go Samuel ototam otot before, right in Pasuk 4, the last words are they made their signs the signs. Now he says ototenu lo ra'inu, we don't see our signs,
Right.
right? In od navi,
Oh, there was
what do
still-
you think of when you hear that?
Sound like there was
Say
still.
funny?
What do you think of when you hear that? Man, oh man,
The Navi and
what navi?
You think it's Eliyahu?
No.
Oh,
What do you think of when you hear the word ought and we don't have a
Moshe.
prophet? Moshe.
yeah.
So just say it.
Okay.
That's all I wanted. Ototenu lo ra'inu. We don't see our signs in od navi. There's no prophet around. Well, who? That's Moshe Rabbeinu is the prophet who brings the otot, right? V'lo itanu yodea adma anatai elohim yicharef sar. It's oyev shemcha lenetzach.
When, O God, will the foe blaspheme? Will the enemy forever revile your name?
Is it going to go on forever? How long are you going to let them get away with these animals?
It's also v'lo kam navi od b'Yisrael is Moshe.
That's I was waiting for
Same
somebody to
pasuk.
say it.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, why don't you? Of course, that's what it's implying. It's implying Lord Cam or Navi and od Navi, Lord Cam Navi od Navi be yourself. It's making you think of Moshe Rabbeinu. The words are making you think of Moshe Rabbeinu without saying his name, right? Right? Because it's quoting what it says about Moshe. It's quoting. Lema tashib yadecha v'minecha. Why are you holding back your hand? Right? V'minecha mikireh hilkecha kaleh. And your right hand from your bosom, take it out.
That's Moshe again.
Right.
Well, this is where Rabbi Sassoon is, of course, proven correct. That the ought that he did was which ought? It wasn't magic. He tells God, Rabbi Sassoon says that's a sign of passivity, right?
Right, we did
There's
that.
two ought. We did that.
We did that.
One is the snake, that you hold it represents your prophetic powers, which it always did anyway throughout the whole thing, right? The rod represents the mater, right? And that's your prophetic powers. And if you don't, yeah, they'll come back to bite you. They're dangerous. They're potent, your powers.
Yeah.
And the other one is the opposite. If you don't use it, then it will you'll waste away. So take your hand out of your bosom means sitting back, relaxing,
Right.
and not taking
Don't
action.
do that.
So he tells God, act. How long are you going to keep this up? What are you doing? But he's using the otot, of course, that's the third time now. That's the third time that the otot are being emphasized in a strong way in the content. The first time, ototenu, samu ototam otot. The second time, ototenu lorainu and od navi. The third time, lema tashiv yadecha. Why are you holding back your hand? And your right hand from your bosom, take it out, right? So, and so two things. Now you're seeing the taught that of course Moshe,
And by the way,
right? That's
right after that pasuk, it's the whole halatot ve'mofitim.
mhm.
Asher shelacho Hashem v'asor be'ez mitzrayim.
That's correct. So that's where you think of it. So now he's directly referring to Moshe outright by saying, and your right hand, right? Your hand, why are you holding back your hand? And your right, take it out of your bosom. Once you see those words, every scholar and everybody in the world says, oh, this is reminding you of the ought, right?
Right.
But of course, this is where Rabbi Sassoon gets backed up with the idea of passivity.
Yeah.
Because doesn't he keep saying, how long? How long? What are you doing? Why are you watching this happen? And then, well, take your hand out of your bosom, right? So he's reminding, it's sort of double-edged. On the one hand, he's saying act. On the other hand, he's saying, you told Moshe, he doesn't say it. You told Moshe not to be passive. You're being passive, right? It's an indirect attack without saying you, but what he's really saying is, you told Moshe,
Practice what you put.
yeah, practice what you're allowing them to do it. Why are you allowing them to get away with it, right? So it's the third, very strong reference to
Good.
signs. Good? Third.
Mm-hmm.
And my Hashem, my king, from old, who does salvations in the midst of the land. Go ahead.
Pretty
It was
clear.
you who drove back the sea with your might,
Shibarta Rashi Tanim al Hamayim.
smashed the heads of the monsters in the water.
Atar Isasa Rashi Leviathan.
It was you who crushed the heads of the Leviathan,
Leviathan. Tetenenu Machal Am Lesim.
left them as food for the denizens of the desert.
Atabakata Ma'yan Venahal.
It was you who released springs and torrents,
Who what?
who released springs and torrents.
Right, but you don't remember Rabbi Hidary's class, Bakata means you split it, right?
Right.
Makes you think of Kriyat Yamsuf, right? Ataho Bashta Narot Etan.
Made the mighty rivers run dry.
What is that? Yabasha.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Shirat Hayam is floating. Oh, you are in here. Shirat Hayam is where do you find Shirat Hayam over here? In every word, he's reminding you of Shirat Hayam here, correct?
No, also
It's floating in the background of the word, so to speak. As he's saying this, as he's saying it, he's reminding you of Shirat Hayam, correct, Abi? You can't help. Sorry, but Abi.
V'hayam bakata.
Right.
V'halechu bayabasha.
Bayabasha.
Yes.
Now,
So
but now, Abi, listen carefully. You'll join it. Lecha yom af lecha laila. Ata hachinota ma'or v'shamish. What does that remind you of?
That's fitted sheep.
That's
That he
it.
made the
That's
whole-
correct. That's correct. Ata hasapta.
Yeah. Three times is.
Taninim also.
It's the end of the-
Yeah. Ata sabta kol givulot aretz. Go ahead, AB.
All right.
What
Kayis
is it?
b'choref, atayis sartam. It's also the same thing. It's
Where do you have the words kites and horef coming up with the Torah? Only one other place,
Bereshit.
Oh,
right?
Right.
after the flood.
After the flood, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only other time.
He set
So,
the season.
so that's that one. The kites and horef one is like an explicit. You said it was creation before that, right? AB, because of the wording. But once you say kites and horef, atayis sartam, forget
Bereshit,
it.
done.
Now I've taken you and tell you, of course I'm talking about Bereshit. I'm talking about the flood. I'm talking about that time. Zichor zot oyev heref Adonai v'al nabal v'am nabal niasu shemecha. What is zichor zot?
Be mindful of how the enemies blasphemes the Lord.
Blaspheme heref Hashem v'am nabal
How base people revile your name.
niatsu shemecha. Right? Al titem hayat nefesh torecha.
Do not deliver your dove to the wild beast.
Right?
Do
Hayat aniecha al tishkach lanetzach.
not ignore forever the band of your lonely ones.
Right? He's describing them as, hazaton, leaving them to these animals.
So is the
Where is
purpose-
stuff in this, by the way?
Habet,
Can I ask a question, sir?
not yet, no,
Well, okay.
no, habet laberit. Abi, habet laberit. What does that remind you of?
That's the kesher.
Bereit
Yeah.
ben betarim. Also.
No, habet laberit.
Look at the sky. yeah,
Oh, look at the
kesher,
sky
it's
as a
sky.
rainbow.
Yeah,
Okay,
habet
that's right.
laberit. Ki malu. Now watch the next words. Ki maliu mahashake eretz neot Hamas.
That's-
Right, the Timalea
Ares,
Hamas, Hamas, because because they are filled the dark places of the earth with violence. Right, violence is now permeating the world. But of course now the Timalea Ares Hamas. So he did two things. He took you to Shirat Hayam and the destruction and the, what happened at the sea, and he's taking you to creation and saying, oh, the world was full of Hamas. Well, Hamas is, what is he doing by doing that? He's describing the present state of affairs in the world like the beginning of chaos reigning, right? Every corner of the world is filled with violence. So he took you to creation, he took you to the flood, he took you to the beginning, and he took you to now that imagery. And here we are now. How long are you going to allow this to happen, right?
So why mention-
Al Yashov Dach Nechlam Ani Ve'ebyon Yehalu Shebecha.
The downtrodden turn away disappointed, let the poor and needy praise your name.
Kuma Elohim Ribarebecha
Rise, O God, champion your cause.
Zichor Hirpatcha Menina Baal Kol Hayom
Be mindful that you are blasphemed by the base men all day long.
Al Tishkach Kol Tzorerecha
Do not ignore the shouts of your foes,
She'on Kamecha Ole Tamid.
the din of your adversaries that ascend.
There's no.
The noise, constant.
We should say this.
You end off. Now, I pointed out in my commentary 10 years ago at the very beginning that how do you see him end off? What are the last two words of this Mizmor?
Tamid.
Ola Tamid. We're in the priestly Mizmorim. So he ends up in the word Ola Tamid, right? Secondly, we're all in the destruction of the temple. All of this was a destruction of the temple. He's not talking about the destruction of Jerusalem. The temple is being torn down to bits. They're burning it. They're tearing it down. It is not in 79. 79 opens up Samuel with Yerushalayim Le'yim. They made it piles and it's all burnt to the ground and blood is pouring in the streets. Over here, he's focusing on the temple because he just now talked about the destruction of Shiloh at the Mikdash El and Beit El, which ended up getting destroyed. So now he turns to the present situation that he didn't realize that, of course, these people are going to get, and he describes it, and he tells God, how long can you keep this up? And he begs for relief, and he talks about creation, what you did, and how they were reviling, they're making fun of you, they made their signs the signs, and so on and so forth. Good?
So it says mention of creation to sort of calls out the test. You created the world, you made the planets and everything like that. You could do what you want to do. You could do anything.
I think it's more the thing of, you could do whatever you want to do, you created the world, and they're making fun of you.
But he responds, "Anochi tikanti amodei hasela," the next mizmor. Like he says
Right.
that I did all that. This is all me.
Right. So now,
Oh, what's that?
these sheets that I just gave out,
It's like Ricky's colors.
you can listen, you don't have these sheets, AB, right? You guys,
Holy cow.
I should really put it up, but I want you to look at this sheet, because I want you to see what he does. There's something that he does in this Mizmor that is absolutely amazing. And that is this.
It's right here.
Take,
Oh.
take, Mizmor.
Look at everybody else, not gonna look at me.
So we just read.
It's already back to what.
No.
It's gonna be fun.
No. So maybe you can listen as we describe it. In this Mizmor, he uses terms that when we said, he says in verse 9, ototeno lorainu, right? And in Od Nabi, you said, of course, he's reminding you of Moshe and his otot. And not only does he do that, right after that, he says, he reminds you of the ot that Moshe has, right? Of his hand in his bosom. Good? Right? Right after it. If you have the sheets, it's in the
Yeah.
second Hebrew column, right? Right? And that's words 87, 80 through 92. You see that? The number to immediately to the right of the Hebrew words.
The big blue box.
The blue. You see it, Mars?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I made it very big for you to see the word. At word 66, ototenu lorainu. You see the word I made, ototenu?
Yes.
And there are arrows pointing out from it
Couple.
to show you that he did an amazing thing over here. You see when he says in verse 2, right? Har Sion zeh shachantu harima pe'amecha lemeshu ot netzach. You see that, AB? What does the word meshuot mean? The guy who has the English. You don't know, Mars? Meshuot?
I'm not sure.
Like Shoah?
Oh, wow.
Into the destruction.
What's the problem? You know?
Three.
Yeah.
Perpetual tumult.
Tumult, right? Right?
Sure.
Netzach means forever, right? Perpetual. But you see how the word ought appears in it? Meshuot, right?
Okay.
It's coming back to me now. This
Now look at verse 4. Samu ototam otot. For the guys who have your sheets, just look at verses at words 34, 5. Look at the yellow. Samu ototam otot. But now you find out a very, very interesting thing. In verse 5, he uses words. AB, if you'll read verse 5, they're difficult words and create a bump in the road when you're reading. If you don't know Hebrew good, Mars, you can't help but notice when you're reading this that it's very difficult. Go ahead, AB.
Wait, just 1 second. The Meshuot thing, is that the Samu Ototam, like when you did the thing with the Kohen before? Samu Otot is Meshuot.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, same word.
Yeah.
It's there. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You may have been seen. Samu.
Right. It's
Right.
the same letters. He puts it right in.
Ototam. He puts them right, he makes it into the word Meshuot.
Right.
Right. Amazing.
How about Moshe? So,
And then read verse 4. I'm sorry, verse 5,
Five.
AB.
Yivadak Kimebi Lema'la.
Now, see the word yivada,
Yeah.
kemebi lema'la, bisboch etz kerdumot, right? Very strange words. slowly, read it slowly.
It's like men wielding axes against.
Listen to the, I'll go to Hebrew, you go to English, listen. Yivada,
It's like.
that means Yivada is like known, right? Kemebi,
Men.
like bringing,
Men.
le'ma'la, up
Up.
high, like look at me,
Yeah.
look like this, ma'la,
Mavim Mala is wielding.
right?
Wield it.
But you're holding it up high, right?
Okay.
Le'ma'la.
You wield an axe.
Bisboch etz.
In the against the gnarled tree.
So now Sboch etz should remind you of, it reminds me of it. What is it called? Even though it has nothing to do with it, the burning bush. What's it called?
Sinner.
The sedeh. Bespoke, you think of a tree, right?
Is all mixed together.
Yeah, right. Bespoke
At the bush.
etz. Kadumot. Go ahead, Soli.
Again, they don't use the Svoch Etz Kadumot is against the gnarled tree.
Right, because they don't know what to do with it.
Tangled branches.
So they have to paraphrase it because Bespoch etz kadumot. What is the word kadumot? The things that you use, right? They bring up at that
axe?
wood. Yeah,
That's the axe.
that's the axe, right? Kadumot. Ve'ata, and now, go ahead, Abi, Soli.
With hatchet and pike, they hacked away at its carved work.
Pituheha, that's they
They-
translate pituha as the carved work.
No,
Yahad together, bekashil v'chelapot,
with hatchets and pike,
pike. Hatchet is kashil, pike, I guess, is kilapot, yahalomun. They chop away.
hack away.
Good. So now, what do you notice about those words? You can't help but realize, of course, I pointed it out for you, that it's using, even in its description, which if you want to know why the words are difficult words for you, is because it went out of its way to say etz, kardumot, and ve'ata. Kardumot is ot. Look at me. Kardumot, ot, right? Right? So it says Samu ototam otot. Their signs became the signs, right? You know what they do? It's like, you know what's known now? Listen, you know what's known? Nivada, you know what's known now? They're bringing up their axes, right? Kardumot. That's the sign. It's ot. And what is ve'et?
Where?
All the letters of ot
Oh.
with the ayin as the play. Aleph, Vav, Taf, Vav, Ayin, Taf. The play on ot. A-B, you see that? The ayin and aleph are always interchangeable.
I got it.
Oh, you use it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then what does he say? They do it with kashil ve
Kilapot.
kelapot.
And that's a kriya.
Ot.
That's a kriya, by the way.
Right.
The Etz is ata.
Right.
Yeah.
So you see the kelapot? You see the yellow Ike?
Yeah, at the bottom.
AB, you see it?
Yeah, but was it?
So you have kadumot and kelapot, ot. You don't get it? He doesn't get it. See.
But that's the plural of a nekeva.
No, but they're purposely
you
using the
thick-headed two on the left. Yeah.
This,
If
no,
I
no.
have a poet, and in the poem, every third word I go
Right.
like this. I walked out, and I said hello out, and I walked and I ate out, and I came out, and I think
No,
out,
and the
I
words
think
that it's
out,
using to
and
do
the
it.
table out, and the water out, and I wrought iron. You finally realize.
Wrought iron. Okay, that was good.
You realize that you go and you realize that the word kilapot is a weird word, right? And you realize kedumot is they can't even translate it in the English, right? And it's right after Samu ototam otot. They made their ots to ots. So what is he telling you? How did they make their ots to ots, AB? By with
Physically
their
breaking things down.
right, with their
Their
kedumot
actions
and
with
their
their things.
kilapot, right?
I see.
Now follow. In verse
It's
8, right? When he says ototenu lorainu, right?
Okay.
So you see the word ototenu,
No.
there's an arrow going out.
Nine.
Verse,
Nine.
by the way, today I got the what is it called when you're gonna have an operation and you have to get the clearance. So I went to Basul and son and they tell me, okay, you said next week. I see foggy out here. Yeah, I'm having the cataract. Yeah.
So ototenu lora inu is the same thing as velo itanu yodea. It's the same.
No.
Itanu and
Wait.
ototenu or no?
Wait. We don't see hours, Lorainu, right? You know what we see? We see Meshu Ot. Look at the arrows, AB.
Yeah.
Look at the arrow. We see Meshu Ot.
You got that one?
We see Ototam Otot.
Yes, we got that.
We see Kadumot. And we see Kelapot. That's the Ots that we see. But he's saying it to you indirectly, of course. He's putting it in there. But keep this in mind when we talk about Ots. Hold on to that. Don't ask me questions about it yet. Stop. Now, in Od Navi is, of course, reminding you about Moshe, right? Lord Kam Navi Od B'Yisrael, right? In Od Navi, as AB so clearly pointed out, right, AB? It's going out of its way to remind you of Moshe Rabbeinu and his Ots. And if you didn't get it right after that, it's going to tell you, Tashiva Dcha, it's going to remind you of the Ot with him,
Right.
right?
You just said that.
Good. Now, look at the other Ots. When it says Ototenu, look now, Velohim Malkimi Kedim. AB, Ms. read in verse
Where-
12. Velohim,
Elohim malki mekedem, po'el yeshuot bekedem
Yeshurot. Say it when you hit it. Ot.
Okay.
Yeshurot. Go ahead.
אתה פורעת בעוזך ים, שברת...
Stop. What does that remind you of Tapurata Wozechayam?
You did the thing on Yam Suf.
Okay. What is Atapurata?
אתה פורעת. You bring deliverance through
Second
the land.
person, and you,
It was you who drove back the sea with your might.
Look at those two words, Atapurata.
אתה פורעת.
Look at the first two letters in the last letter of Porarta. What do you got?
Yeah, ot.
No,
Ot.
no, you have Otot.
Yeah, I see it. Aleph,
Atap
Taf, and then
Porarta
the
is
Taf.
Otot. Go ahead, read the next one.
פרעת ראשי תנינים על המים.
Go ahead, and then.
אתה רססת, again, otot.
What is Atatasasta?
Right.
What are the first two letters in the
Yeah,
last letter?
Ot
Otot.
and otot again.
The scholars are clueless. You know what they say? Oh, it's poetic. They go, ata. They go like this: second person, ending with third person, and they go, and that's a nice way to do a thing. Meantime, they're blind to the fact that, of course, he used the letters otot. Because he's mentioning in one of the ots. That is ot in one of the otot, correct? That is one of the otot. We go to the next one.
The atabakata again. And then
What is
atabakata?
atabakata?
Same thing.
AB?
Otot.
And what's the next one?
Atahubashta.
Is that otot? Look at the next word after that.
Naharot etan. What do you mean?
Naharot.
Right.
And etan?
Is ot also.
Otot. You have aleph, taf, vav, taf backwards. Aleph, taf forwards. So you have otot. You see that, how it's otot in your face, AB?
Yep.
Right? Yeah, right. Yeah,
Keep going.
You know why I'm
Keep
happy you
going.
said that? Because nobody
Keep going.
noticed it for
Keep going.
2,000, a couple of thousand years,
You
right?
have to keep going.
Lechayom, what's that?
You have to keep going.
Yeah, it's coming more.
It just keeps going.
It keeps
Yeah.
going. Go ahead, AB.
Yeah. Atachinota ma'or v'shemesh.
What's that? Would you please say it when you read it? Go ahead.
Atachinota. Ata hisabta.
And wait, hachinot. Hachinota. So the word hachinota is not only otot, it's ot on the, it's otot.
Right.
You got it?
Uh-huh.
Atachinota. Ma'od Hashem. What else did you do?
Ata sabta kol gebulot aris.
More, that's also
Uh-huh.
otot, is it not?
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Kais v'chorev. Ata
No.
yisartam.
Atahisapta call
Gebulot aris.
Gebulot.
Aris.
Audits. What is the aleph of audits and the vav and the taf of Gibulot, the 3 letters in a row make up?
Ot.
Ot.
Yeah, in a row.
And then kais v'choref,
Ata yisartam.
otot.
Seven,
Right.
Right? And then what do you say? Zechor?
Zot.
Zot. What are the letters of Zot? Ot.
Right.
What's the next words? Zechor, Zot, Oyeb. What are the letters of Zot and Oyeb, Amy?
Otot. I see.
Otot. Aleph, Taf, Aleph, Vav is nothing more than saying Otot, right?
The word attack.
What's this one in the middle here?
And then,
You think this is a sign?
That's
you heard what he said? You didn't hear what AB said. He says, you think this is a sign?
can turn it off in a second.
Very good. Keep going.
Al titen lehayat nefesh
Al titen.
torecha.
Oh, nice.
Al titen, and it ends with torecha.
seven.
Alti 10 is
Right.
Oh, oh,
Otot. Aleph, Taf,
Taf,
Taf.
Taf.
Alti 10. I have a, by the way, you notice I have a small Taf on the Alti 10. It should have been a
Oh,
big,
second.
yeah, there's a, because Alti 10, I blew it.
It's
It's,
the 2 tabs.
it's the 2, it's Otot.
Right, oh, the top.
Alti 10, keep
Right.
going,
Lehayat nefesh torecha.
keep going.
Hayat aniyecha. Al tishkach lanesach.
Al Tishkach, Ot. Aleph, Taf.
All right.
You know, it's just, he hears them in terms of.
Ki,
What's
Ki,
that?
Ki, Mali'u.
Okay, malu mehashake eres. Neot. Neot.
Neot. Only that one is the word Aleph Vav Taf in your face.
That's the only one.
Ot, right? Neot
I found it.
Hamas, right?
Where's the?
Now go all the way to the bottom. Read verse 22.
6.
Kuma Elohim riba ribecha.
Yeah.
Zechor herpatecha. Menin avar kol hayom.
Well, Ayom, keep going.
Al
Yeah,
tishkach
it's
kol
nice.
sorerecha.
Tishkach. What's Ot?
Right.
Keep
Kol
going.
sorerecha. Again, she'on kamecha ole tamid.
Ole Tamid is Ot.
Oh, ole. Oh.
Ole Tamid.
Oh. Okay.
Now, every Ayin and Aleph are interchangeable, so he ends up with Or.
Right.
Ole Tamid. Rashe. He
Yeah.
ends off with Ot.
Right.
So now, of course, whenever I say this to, you know, the scholarly kind of people who say it's wonderful usage of poetic usage in this Mizmor about a second person referring to God, and you go, oh, I tell them, they go, oh, this whole Mizmor is full of oughts. How many oughts? So I tell them every word, and they go, you're right. They give in to me, of course, because once you know it, you see that the whole Mizmor is built on otot. Good,
Okay.
right? Isn't it nice just to see it? It's nice to see it, no, visually.
So there's 7 ataz and 1 atah with an ayin. That's
Yeah.
with the aleph.
Right,
And that other one, the ayin is a kriyachtir.
There's no kriyachtir,
right.
Yeah, pasuk 6.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not a kliyuchtiv.
It's not clear.
No, it's not a
No, it's not.
kliyuchtiv. It's
It's
just
not
missing the
clear.
hay. That's all.
No,
That's all.
no,
It's just missing,
It's written without the hay. That's all.
right.
Without you have a,
The-
no,
the-
the Safari has.
The actual oughts, Ike, point out the actual oughts in the Mizmor, starting with, go ahead, you have them in yellow and red, so you can't miss it, Ike, go ahead.
Okay, so you got it right. You want
The first one is starting on the left column, no, the left column,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's about to let him say it.
The Mashu what?
So that one is Mamash ought,
Yeah.
Aleph Vav Taf, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, auto tam, so that's.
Good,
Auto.
good.
No, no.
Ought, just ought.
Okay.
Ototenu.
Okay.
And then
And Yeshuot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeshuot is mamash.
Okay, what else you got? Zot.
No, auto.
And then you have
The right count.
Zot.
Zot, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that one is ought
Tot.
and otot, backwards, forwards, upside down, and inside out. And the last one is neot, hamas. Those are the outright ones. All of the purple and yellows, which are all over the place, right, with the etz, kardumot, and kelapot, and so on and so forth. So it went out of its way to talk about or taught beyond comprehension, right?
Yeah.
In a behind the scenes way. So I'll ask you a question now. Since nobody noticed it for a few thousand years, right?
Yeah.
Even though this Mizmor says Samuel Ototam Otot,
Yeah.
it's going to be my question.
Pretty clear.
It's pretty clear.
That's-
You said Samo Ototam Otot. You can't do better than talking about they made their Otot. And then when you say Ototenu Lera'inu, you're talking about, we don't see our oughts, you're talking about oughts, correct?
Mhm.
Two things. And then you don't say ought, but you mention Moshe's ought with his hand explicitly.
Mhm.
And you know it's an Od Navi, Lokam Navi Od. So you know, of course, as AB said, it's
Insulting Moshe.
that's Moshe Rabbeinu, and you think of his ought,
Lechol ha'otot, right after the pasuk.
right? Can't help it,
Lechol ha'otot ha'movim.
right? So you can't help it, but nobody ever noticed it. Okay, now when I tell you nobody ever noticed it, after you see it, it's a little hard to believe, correct?
It's there.
Even though AB in the beginning I hit him, I slapped him one time, I punched him.
Now you.
Till I put because you went, oh, you're getting carried away with yourself. Yeah. Right. So
You know, like
the question becomes like this. I'm going to ask Morris first, then I'm going to ask the rest of the table. Morris, what are these words embedded here in a hidden or an open way?
Well, for the guy who understands the text, I guess they're very noticeable.
Right. When you see it, it's a no-brainer, correct? Once you see this and you see it in its fullness, it's explicit.
Mhm.
But listen carefully. But if no one saw it,
What's the purpose?
then it's not explicit.
Yeah.
Correct? Because no one ever said it. No one ever said this is what is full of signs.
Right.
So why is in the previous Mizmor, no one everybody said it was talking about Kohanim, but of course it's talking about Kohanim all over the place. Right?
Because-
I didn't go over that with you.
Okay.
In the other Mizmor, in 73, the word Kohen is all over the place.
We did.
No, I mentioned the critical one, but it's all over the place. Kohen, right?
It's
Over here, it's all over the place. In 73, we say it and say it because if you know I'm talking about the Kohanim,
Kill 'em.
forget it, impossible.
Right.
But over here, what was the objective? What was the reason that the
What is not.
what is here yet?
It says it. Ototenu Lord Ayinu.
I wanted somebody else to say it.
Yes, then.
Yes.
He says the words ototenu lo ra'inu.
Yeah.
The words
I
ototenu
guess
ra'inu.
clear with him.
We don't see the otot.
It's in our face.
It's in your face.
And you don't see.
You don't see the otot. I asked the question. What do you? How could anybody
That's-
listen to my question?
I hear you.
How in heaven's name could 2,000 years go by and nobody see the otot?
Because
It happens to be when I ask you the questions, nobody sees the otot. That in this is what it says. We don't see our otot.
But that's Kriyat Yam Suf. They don't see the otot. 5 minutes later, they're complaining they don't have anything. It's in their face, the otot.
God.
What do you say means? You
What's the
you
purpose?
could agree with him. Stop being sleepy and wake up.
Sorry, sleepy moms.
Yes.
Sleepy.
It's they don't,
What's going on?
God's in their
The
face.
words are, we don't see our taught. And of course, nobody ever saw the taught.
God is in their
But they're
face.
there, but they're there, they're all over the place.
God's in their face.
They're not. That's not the Midrashic.
No, they're in destruction. mode
What?
right now.
What's all he said?
I didn't hear what he said.
God's in their face. The authority
No,
is God
no,
coming,
no,
trying to produce for them, trying to do for them.
No, this
and
is
they're not seeing
destruction.
it.
That's what this is about?
This is destruction.
This is
I don't
destruction.
understand what's so hard. Why is this so?
No, that's
Why are
Why?
you making it so hard? I don't understand.
Uh, uh,
Where is
that's the
God?
question.
God, stop being passive. Where are you author? No, we don't see you acting.
Right,
What-
so
Well-
why is it full of autot, I'm asking you? Is it, look, listen, I'm gonna ask the question better.
God, this is God's
Is-
hand.
This is, Sauli attempted to answer it by going like this. You know, that's like people who don't see God's thoughts. He does a lot of thoughts and they don't care, right? Like
Okay.
in Israel. So that's like an answer a little bit. Forget if it's Midrashic. He's saying, is this saying the autot are all there, all over the place, but you don't see them. So he says, like they saw Kiyat, so they say, take us back to Egypt and whatever, right? Like that. Okay.
Right, but you're in the middle of it, you can't see it. That's really the point. When you're in the middle of the hell, which is this basically what they're saying, and they're saying, God, where are you? Right? God's telling you, I'm right here. I'm right here. You got to look for me. There's going to be collateral damage. Everything is going to happen, but I'm here. And there's going to be an end to this thing.
No, I
And
think
it's gonna
he's
stop.
saying. I think it's different. I think
He's waking up.
No, that's just
He's
the
fine.
Navi saying that when things went on in the past, we saw your actions. It came clear. That's what it means in ought. There was clarity of activity.
Right? Habet laberit, he says in this one. He says, look to the berit. That's the ought, right? You know,
Yeah.
he says, doesn't he say, look at the
Yeah,
covenant over here?
He said it was the Keshet, yeah.
Right?
Right.
Right? He says, Habet laberit, look at the covenant. That means looking at the keshet, look at what, which is looking at the ought. No, because God says, ought haberit. This is the ought of the berit.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So keep talking.
So when the enemy is winning and it's and these things are going on, you can't see where these actions are going on. It becomes there's no justice that's happening. And the other things that you would call like blatant acts that people would say, "Wow, look what just happened."
Right.
Everything's where's God acting over here?
Right.
Right?
So you don't see the oughts.
You don't see the
They're
action.
not there.
You don't see them.
They're not
No.
there.
Well,
No,
he
they are
writes that
there.
they're all
Sorry.
there.
They're
We
there.
just don't see them.
Because you're such distress that-
Said we don't see them, but they're there.
Because you're such distress that you can't appreciate.
So, well, that's AB saying. AB is saying
Is that there?
you can't see the forest from the trees. We're in the middle of the thing,
Right.
I
right?
don't think this Mizmor is a statement about God's or taught are happening all the time and you don't see them. It's saying that when things are going south like this, where's the action? You're looking for God's hand, let's call it,
So
right, to
it's not
present
there.
itself.
Then why is that-
So I want to throw in another question in the middle of this discussion. What is an ought?
That's what Rabbi Ricky.
It's something that becomes blatant among many people, right?
Is it supernatural?
No, it's just people go, "Oh, that was God." That's just like by Mitzrayim. Doesn't
Right.
oh this is
Something ought to be Mitzrayim must have recognized God.
Nothing supernatural.
Right.
It's
Okay, so-
educational too.
None of this is supernatural.
Where's that only good guy here?
So right now you got a clear definition of oughts,
yeah.
right? Moshe, take your hand out of your bosom. That's an ought.
That's
That
not,
was
that's
just
not
nothing
11.
more than a sign of inaction.
That's not Yud Aleph.
It's not what it's not
That's
even supernatural. His hand didn't turn into
The Keshet is not supernatural, it's a part of nature, actually. But
exactly
as a symbolism.
of what? When does the keshet come out? After the storm.
Right.
The calm after
Right.
you see the beautiful rainbow
I'm not gonna
after the
destroy it.
horrible
I'm
storm.
not gonna destroy anymore, here's
So-
a sign for you to let you know that we're gonna go forward.
What is it
Well,
that
that sign represents
Yeah.
that things go on. This,
In that sense, it's not in
this-
itself.
What's the Navi telling him? Don't worry,
no,
it's gonna come.
no, I didn't say that. I listen.
I don't know what he's-
All I said was from this, all oughts that we see are not supernatural.
Okay,
Tiffany.
we got that, all the other stuff.
They just mean something.
Rabbi Ricky's.
But when you are Tarasasa the Shiliviyatan, he says, what better ought do you want than that? Atahu Basta and Harote Atan. Ata Hachinota, Ata Hisapta, Gibalot Aris, Ata Yesartam. What better ought than you want than what God did? That is the sign.
So.
So is that miraculous?
No.
Are those miraculous things? Are all these?
Yes, those are miraculous things. Why are you saying no?
Why are you saying no, not miraculous?
I'm asking a question.
To get into the
No.
miraculous, you see that
It's a teaching.
it's a
Intervention. Why can't you say
recognition of
that?
God's involvement.
Right, it's a recognition of God's involvement by looking back in time and seeing actions that he took, and those are the otot.
So don't worry, it's gonna come.
I didn't say that. All I'm
No.
asking now is the nature of ought. 1 minute.
He's saying let it surface, right?
Where are your otot? Let it serve. Let us see the oughts.
Don't worry, it's gonna come.
No, it's
I
a.
don't say
No,
no.
He's not saying
not
don't worry,
don't
it's gonna
worry.
come.
He's saying, how long are you gonna let this go on? We don't see any oughts.
We need to see an ought for hope.
I don't see any action on your part. Take your hand out of your bosom and they're not doing
Not
anything.
even action, we need to see an ought to know that there's a future.
That is, take your hand out. So that's an ought. Like Moshe did when he did it. Take your hand out. It becomes an ought.
Well, you could say it like
That's
this:
enough.
take more blatant action, right?
Yes.
And Lord Aino that everybody will see, right?
Right. You know what we see? Their oughts.
Right. We see them winning. We see them
Samo also
succeeding.
Tamo taught. They made their oughts oughts.
That I got. That was.
Right? They're winning.
Right, very-
They're winning. They're tearing they made their oughts. That's the sign. They say, you see, we're right. You go like, don't you see?
I'm off. That.
Isn't that what they said?
Yeah,
Look,
look,
we're right.
took pictures of it and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mash them. So clearly the ought is never supposed to be thought of in a miraculous, magical way.
Okay.
Miraculous, yes. Magical, no.
That's how
It's not getting
That's
into.
how such a book describes.
It's not getting into magic at all.
It's just talking about
History,
well,
your actions in creation, your actions in the world, your actions at the flood, your actions at the splitting of the sea, your actions at the
your actions on
overcoming.
behalf of the nation,
Yeah,
right? In seeing it survive, succeed, and whatever has gone on in history.
that's an ought.
Yes,
So now, I'm gonna ask the dumb question. Why at this juncture of the Chorban do we have to refer to the oughts?
No, it's a prayer.
It's
a prayer.
That's it.
It's literally a prayer.
Well, there's nothing wrong with his answer. Yeah. Where are the oughts? We don't see any oughts. We don't have Moshe Rabbeinu. There was oughts. There was sign. We have no signs of anything. We just have nothing.
Wait, I need more than an ought. At this point, I need Kiryat Yamsuf.
That's an ought. That is an ought.
No, it was a salvation too. It was an
Well, but it's an ought. It's an ought.
It was direct salvation as opposed to.
That's an ought. He's calling that he says it.
There's different levels.
He says that's an ought. What do you mean? He says
Why can't we call it miraculous? I don't understand what the problem is.
No,
with calling it
forget that.
miraculous.
When we
Not a
course
proof
it's
for any ultimate-
miraculous.
So
It's
that's
not
the problem.
AB. It's not that you look at this and it rises off the table.
But
Not
there's something
that.
happening a little bit above nature than the normal thing. Like leaving
No,
Egypt,
it's not
so what?
supernatural.
It's not that it's supernatural. Yes, he's working within nature's.
That's all. That's all. That's all.
okay,
That's all.
fine,
That's
but
all.
it's-
I didn't
but
say
he's-
it's not miraculous. AB,
Okay,
is October 7th miraculous that the nation was saved?
One way of looking at it.
Yes.
On October
it could
7th,
have
was
been
it
much
was it
worse. Yes, it could have been a much worse thing. Yes,
not could have been, would have, it was, and it was going and it didn't. That's a miracle.
I'm agreeing with you.
That's a miracle. That's an ought. It's
Okay.
not supernatural.
The fact that a couple of tanks took on a
There
whole.
there was
mirage
a
of
wind.
things. Right.
There was a wind at Yams in Shiratea. There was a wind, and the wind blew all night, but the wind came at the right time in the right place and the water
I understand.
moved.
But the way I understand, but the way that they're writing it
That's
is not.
not
It's
supernatural.
but
The
it is a
wind
little bit.
came and it blew.
1 minute. I'm not saying that. I'm okay with what you're saying, but the way that it's written in the Mizmor is not necessarily that. That's all I'm saying.
You
So
did.
you're giving. I understand. So there's more imagery of something more miraculous, and just saying.
No,
How could you not
No,
notice that there
no,
was
not more miraculous. No.
that
No.
imagery
That-
is
that-
God overcoming these
You
negative things, Hamas
right.
and the Tov Vavo,
Yeah.
those type of things.
I
that-
understand.
that
I'm just
God's
saying that-
involvement, when God gets involved, right? Those things go backward. Order
Right.
comes to things.
Right.
There's inspiration, there's uplifting, there's the justice, so on and so forth.
Right.
But now you see everything coming apart.
You can't refer back to anything in history.
I said
and
that for the
say,
first second. Hold on.
AB, you're
I got it.
mixing. You're mixing, AB.
I said no. The forest from the trees was what I first said. I understand, and that is
No,
what,
you're
what
mixing about what an ought is. You're mixing with the word miracle and supernatural. Miracle, it's miraculous, everything that's happened in the last year. Supernatural means that a guy shot a missile and it spread into 650 missiles and killed everybody at the same time. That's supernatural. That didn't happen.
Like the
Right.
beavers.
Like the beepers.
that's supernatural.
Right?
It really was.
But they did it.
But if the Torah was writing about the beavers, it would
It would say it's a miracle.
it
It
took
would
out
say,
every one
we
of those
killed.
guys and nobody else died.
Right. Nobody else died. Only the
They
3,000
all
on.
dropped dead where they were standing.
Right. When the Navi
That's
was
what you
because but that is miraculous. You see, the point being, you know it's because they figure out a thing and they got the thing and they but the Navi would say he wiped out the leadership when in
Right,
one split second he killed them all and they all
Right.
died.
So to prove your point further, you could say he also talks about creation, which is a miracle in itself, but it's an evolutionary process.
Yeah.
You created Kayis Fahoris.
Well, of course.
Right.
Of
Shem
course.
Or and Shemesh, right. So it's the
So
same idea.
so that's underlining that there is no such thing that's being referred to that's referring to a supernatural act. Supernatural means that pitcher of water rises up off the table and stays hovering in the middle of the room for 10 minutes.
I believe.
What?
I'll believe in God then if that happens.
Well, that's the famous thing, right? All the left-wing Israelis will tell you, we have a very good army. What's the matter with you? You stupid or something? Well, what about in 1948? You didn't have any army. You have nothing. 100 million people wanted to kill you. They failed.
You have to watch the life of the life of Brian.
Yeah.
That was.
What?
If you watch the life of Brian, you'll understand what Otota.
Yeah. You know how many times Rabbi Ralphie told me that? He says, you never saw the life of Brian. I can't believe it. He says, the greatest movie.
And that was all.
You ever see it? No. He had in the last
Life of Brian, that's Monty Python.
Monty Python.
Eric Idle was
Yeah.
one.
He told me in the last, I'm not exaggerating, in the last month he brought it up 10 times. He goes, you didn't watch that? It's like
No,
never,
the
never
guy-
saw it, never.
No, Jesus drops his shoe.
Next
Oh,
Sunday
it's the
night.
shoe. It's the sign. It's the shoe.
What?
He lost
What?
it. Yeshua's running away. They're chasing him. He drops his shoe. They go, it's a sign. It's the shoe. We should follow the shoe. They don't know. They're looking for an ought.
I gotta go watch it again in a few years.
It's great. That's why, Robert, we've been talking.
That's why.
I'm in
Okay.
75 and 76, so he brings it up everything. Well, watch the movie already. Like, it's great. So now we don't see the signs, they're here, and we don't see them, but they're here. They were there for you to see, and they were hidden. They weren't, well, for me, I can't say they're hidden because to me, it's like, it's every letter and it's every word, yet you don't see it. But there's something that has to be said. We're late. Oh, it's 9 o'clock, 9:05. Quickly, there's something that has to be said about a Mizmor that says we don't see the signs,
And they'll
and the signs are all there, and you don't see them. You have to make a comment about it. Right.
but that's the point.
That is the point.
No.
God's actions,
You don't.
God's actions are going on all the time,
In
overwhelming.
the destruction.
everywhere. No,
During-
today, now,
No,
this
no.
minute,
During the destruction.
all the time, all the time. All the time. It's constant. It's all the time. God is never not.
But what about
acting.
when he says, I will hide my face from you on that day?
Okay, it's hidden. I'm not saying it's not hidden. I'm just saying the reality is it's there. The
I
reality.
mean, and the next is what he says, I'm gonna take my time when I'm ready to do it.
That's
it's another
going to
one.
be the answer to this.
I know.
It's gonna be it. How long are you gonna let this go on? The next Mizmor is gonna
I
say,
decide.
I work on my time frame, not your time frame, which we're gonna talk about. And we're gonna talk about why that becomes the center of all. Now that we have this picture, we'll stop on this note. We're gonna continue with why say at the center of Tehillim, right after the autot that you didn't see, which are there, which you're telling God, we're not seeing it act, so we'll see it. And why put at the center of Tehillim, which means the focal point of everything, 75 and 76. All right.
Okay.
All right, guys, I'm gonna sign off. Was this Amy? Was it good?
Can I
Excellent,
have
very
one
good.
comment?
Yeah.
Can I make one comment? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you.
So what are the words right after Ototenu lo ra'inu?
Yeah.
What are the
And
words right
Navi.
after that?
And
Od
Od
Navi.
Navi. It's reminding you of
So-
Moshe Rabbeinu and his
But is it-
autot.
Is it suggesting that the reason why we don't see the miracles, we don't see the Otot, is because we don't have a Navi?
No, it's telling you he did the autot.
But we're seeing the Otot now in the Mizmor because we have a Navi.
That's true.
It was two Yom Sufis.
But the autot that you see from Moshe are autot that what are they? Take your hand out of your bosom. It's not
I'm saying
supernatural,
that-
it's
I'm saying that-
act.
I'm saying that in order to see the Otot, you need to have some level of Nivuah or appreciation of Nivuah.
You hear what he's saying?
Yeah.
In order to see an ought, you have to be able to understand what an ought is. That's what that means, in effect. We will talk about that further. Yes,
Sure.
it's a good question.
He just supported your point more though. By
Yes,
saying
yes,
that.
it's a very good question. Yeah. All right,
All right, Laila Tov.
Laila Tov, everybody. Very good, Sammy. Very good, very good. Okay.
I don't think it's been finished.